I know she didn't mean to say this, but you know how people like leave the comments on the chat to kind of like comment that they're here. I'm pretty sure Sky meant to say like, hello, good morning, but she forgot the O on the hello. So it says hell, good morning. I'm like,
that sounds pretty intentional.
It does. Anyway, sorry.
Warning.
Oh, it was a warning now. Okay. So let's just go over this one more time. I haven't seen you guys since like what? Wednesday of last week?
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
No.
She says apologies. Anyway, so just to recap what's going on with June, I've erased May. May is in the back window. Goodbye, May. Hello, June. Today's Wednesday. I only have you for an hour. I don't get to walk you to lunch today. Friday. I have you Friday for a full day as well. And then next week, senior exams. Well, no, I know. But now, just to clarify, today and Friday, we are reviewing. We are reviewing for our final exam. I have something available for us to work off of today. We'll do that, and we'll see what we can get done today and get done on Friday and see where this takes us. Tuesday, you take your final exam in this class period. It's got to be in real time. So whatever I end up giving you, obviously, you have to complete during the particular class period. That goes for the online students as well. I will make something available to you via Google Classroom. You'll be able to knock something out, upload whatever you got. We'll kind of go from there. For those of you in the classroom, typically when you try to upload something in the classroom, like you can't really do it because like phones don't work as well or some check like that. So whatever you end up writing out, I will gladly accept in physical form. So what we'll deal with that. Then on Thursday the 10th, it's a full class period, but we got nothing to do. Oh no, not for Thursday the 10th. Not bringing in the Switch for Thursday the 10th. That's for a last week of school thing. No, but I wanted to watch National Treasure. But we only have like 80 something minutes. So for those of you who are of the senior variety, on Monday the 14th, you won't be here. I will only have the non-seniors.
Well, I mean, you guys can still come in.
Yeah. So my goal is to either on Monday the 14th either finish whatever we didn't finish for National Treasure. I also am planning on bringing in my Nintendo Switch. I got some. I'm debating.
I don't think he can.
Yeah, I don't think that you can actually because you'd have to go to period 1B first. And then where would you keep the pizza? And then it'd be cold by then. You can't get anything delivered. They don't want anything delivered to the school. Yeah. So you bring a pizza maker? Yeah. Of course. Yeah. No one will ever be suspicious if you bring in your own pizza maker. Right. And then you guys know what's going on Friday the 18th, right? Yeah, that weird 8. You're not wandering around the school. You are not wandering around the school. Not during my class period.
Yeah, I mean, you can wander around like the rest of them, but like the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I know, it really is going to be like 10 minutes.
10 minutes, sit down, or nap, you choose.
Exactly. Also, yeah, this guy does remind me graduation is that day. Which I should be there. But anyway, as for today.
You can't stop me.
Yeah, you can't stop me. I'm just going to show up. I'm just going to be at the end of the stage that people are walking across, just staring them down. Welcome to the real world. Anyway, but yeah, as for today, we are going to be reviewing. So what I want to do, I'm going to be sending you guys a PDF on Google Classroom that we are going to work on today. And I'll get that later. Today and on Friday. I just got to get to the right Google Classroom right here. Here we go. Yeah. I want to post, add, file, browse, final exam review. review. Final exam review. Post. So you're going to open that thing up. And it should look like this. Oh, wait, I got the wrong one. That's my discrete math one. Let me delete that.
It did say it in the title.
My bad. I was in the wrong file.
Silly guy.
I know. File. Browse. Oh, yeah, that was my discrete file. Here's Cryptology. Oh, someone get that. Oh, he got it. You did it. Nah, I'm good. Final exam review. Post. There it is. That should be the one we're looking for. This is the one that we need. So you need to open that thing up. And this is what I'm going to be focusing our attention on this morning. Now, in terms of this review, whatever you need to remind yourself of, whatever you need to write down, whatever information you need to record, you do that on your own. This is your review. My job is to walk you through these problems and my expectations as to what you're going to show so that you can do well on this final exam. And we'll see how it goes. Ooh, some questions. I'll find a way. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. She said she'll find a way for me to sign the yearbook, and she said maybe I'll wander around the school. Well, technically, I wouldn't be able to do anything about Sky wandering around the school because she's a virtual student, you know. But you, I could write you up.
Well, you know what I could do? I could throw up. I would just throw up in your class.
Uh-huh.
Around school.
All right.
What are you gonna do? Tell me to go to the nurse? I will. And then I just won't go to the nurse.
I can't let you go to the nurse. You get other people sick.
Nasty to do that.
If you threw up, we'd have to quarantine this room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you do it all.
Yeah. And then well, no, because
No, we'd have to close the door.
we're taking proper COVID measures.
Right. Anyway, back to this.
The dividers up and the mask off.
Your divider's not ready.
It's up.
Actually, no, there are different qualifications now because of the quote unquote restrictions. What they've told me, and this is a kind of unofficial, so to speak. Not real. Yeah, it's kind of unofficial in the sense where it's like a Barnegat High School thing. If you remain masked and you are more than 3 feet away, that's what they've told me. That is so not 3 feet. No, what you were measuring. Like literally, I'm just going to show this on camera. This is you measuring 3 feet. That is not 3 feet. Yeah. But if you are 3 feet away, then as long as you are masked and as long as you are comfortable, then the dividers are quote unquote optional in that sense. Yeah. So anyway, back to this. So let's just go through it a step at a time and see what we can do. So on this review, and like I said, you should probably write down whatever you need to write down. That's up to you because obviously this is your final exam review. I'm not going to say, hey, have those notebooks in a position where you can actually write in them. Oh, that's not the line. I didn't say it right. But anyway, back to this. Polyalphabetic ciphers. It says to use the word band to encrypt. Just do what you can do. I'm sorry. Just do what you can to do what you love. And then it asks you to put the ciphertext into 5-letter groups. Now, the 5-letter groups thing, that's just for what we do with the answer. But first, we do have to encrypt this using the keyword band. Now, they want a polyalphabetic cipher. So the resource that I potentially have to get for this, if I'm going to be doing a polyalphabetic cipher, I'm going to need a Veneer square, which would potentially be provided to you. Here we go. There is my Veneer square. Now, in terms of the phrase, where was it? Just do what you can. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to put that extra emphasis there. Just do what you can to do what you love. That's the phrasing right there. So, I know, right? I'm going to write down this phrase. Somebody help me out now. It was just do what you can to do what you love. And what is the key word we're using? What's the key word according to the thing? Band. Yeah. So we're using the word band. So B-A-N-D, 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 B-A-N-D. What I'm doing here is what you should be actually showing me in terms of being able to encipher this thing correctly. B-A-N-D, B-A-N-D, B-A-N. Now, in terms of the Venn square, B-A-N-D, those are the rows that you would be using to encrypt this thing. So you would be using row B, row A, row N, and row D. What do you notice about row A? Yeah, it doesn't change. So any letter in the just do what you can to do what you love, any letter that's under an A would not change. I know, that's just one thing right there. But now let's actually figure this thing out. The J under the B column would become a K. So I'll write that over here. K. U is just going to stay the same. The S is under the N column. Whoop, there it is. F. And then go back to the D. What is it? T? Just W. So just would become. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But again, you would eventually be breaking this up into 5-letter pairs, so let's actually just knock this whole thing out in terms of the Venn square. There are other Venn square-ish type problems that I'm not actually asking you to encode, decode later on. You'll see when we get there. Stuff that you can't just use a website for. Just yeah. No, pretty sure it doesn't. It doesn't have some of the questions that I have. Yeah. Some, most, all, most. Anyway, back to this. Now, in terms of a lot of these words, since they repeat, it's kind of nice, but unfortunately, this word what is not going to be encrypted the same way that this word what will be encrypted as. It won't, unfortunately. Because the word band, when you wrote it up top, it's going to be encrypted using a different row. So just do be an E. The O would stay the same, which is nice. I don't have to encrypt every third letter. And then row N, I go to the W, that's a J. Just do. And then the D with the H becomes a K. Just do. And then the B with the A. Oh, it becomes a B. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. And then the T remains the same. And it just keeps going like that. Now, in terms of what I'm going to be giving you on this exam, I'm not going to be giving you like a super long phrase. You remember the other day or the other week when we tried to encrypt something and we tried to pick like a short quote and it took like forever? It was the shortest of all the quotes. No. What are you doing with your shoe?
Stop watching it. Who cares?
He could have just thrown it on the floor.
That's true. He could have. Anyway, that's true. He's trying to. But basically, this is what we would do with the Venn square. Now, in terms of those 5-letter pairs, of course, in the end, those were the directions that Liston gave. If you would like to give them in 5-letter pairs, that's completely up to you and possible. If you want to give it just as one long list of letters, that's fine as well. You guys have done either or on the assessments that you've turned into me. So I'm good with that. But yeah, oh, the Venn square. The Venn square, again, the indecipherable cipher. 200, 300 plus years this thing couldn't be broken. Or people had, it was basically unbreakable at the time, and now people can break it anytime they want, which is just great. In fact, like if you go to that website, remember we did it last time, we just click like automatic decryption or whatever? It works well, but it doesn't work perfectly.
Like, I don't remember which one it was, but it was one letter off.
What's the puzzle? The puzzle.
Yeah.
Just one letter off.
It doesn't work perfectly, you know?
I don't know why.
Well, it's not necessarily a glitch. It's just probably like an oversight by the programming code. Like there was something about the ciphertext where it kind of fooled the programming, you know? Like, do you know the story of Gary Kasparov? Do you guys know who Gary Kasparov is?
The only Gary I know is Gary the Snap.
Okay. Gary Kasparov was a world champion chess player from Russia.
The guy who beat the world.
Well, he had a 7-match, I think it was 7, maybe it was 9, but it was a multi-match competition against a computer known as Deep Blue. And him and Deep Blue, basically, they drew almost every match that they played. The computer beat him once, and then he beat the computer once. But it's like you think about like a supercomputer being able, like the website, being able to do anything under the sun. But then, like, if you do something in a certain way that kind of messes with its programming, you've kind of outsmarted the computer. The computer can't account for everything.
Wait, I don't know if Deep Blue predicted.
Mhm.
it.
What if Deep Blue just let him?
They used to analyze every single thing that happened and what could happen.
Yeah.
Next move.
Well, let's just put it this way. In terms of like chess, which is really interesting because I've watched a few videos on this. If you consider like I move and then you move, that's one turn, okay? And then I move, then you move, and that's 2 turns. After those 2 turns, we're talking over almost 1,000 different possibilities just after those 2 turns. Do you know how many turns a chess match usually lasts?
Professional or
Any.
any?
Probably roughly 40 to 50. You're talking about the number, there actually is a calculation for this. The number of possible chess matches out there would be more than the molecules in the universe.
Just matches?
If you were to list out every possible conceivable chess match in terms of its combinations and permutations, there would be more chess matches than molecules in the universe.
You want to test that, John?
Yeah. But my point being, though, is that the computer can't account for everything, which is why that website, when it tried to decode using puzzles, messed up because it can't account for everything. Potentially, it has to leave out some. So let's go back to this. Now they want you to decrypt. Now we are going to decrypt this thing using the keyword dog. Yes, it's going to be a dog. So now in terms of a Venn square, what I'm going to suggest to you, because I don't want to keep flipping back and forth, I'm going to ask you guys to do it. Google search Venn square and go to Google Images and find one that works for you. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to write the word dog over the top of each of these. D-O-G, 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 D-O. I want to see what this says. D-O-G, 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 D-O. Doggo, doggo, dog-do, dog-do. So, if you found one, I will do this for the first letter, actually, because you guys are going to decipher this for me. How so? I don't?
Know what you're doing, but you have no clue what's going on.
Oh, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
Fun fact, when I teach,
He does not know what he's doing.
no. When I teach algebra and when I teach statistics, the fun fact is I also don't know what the answer is to most of those questions. You know what I try to do?
What?
I figure it out on the fly. I'm not even kidding.
Just wing it.
No, dude, I've been winging it for 13 years. Anyway, back to this. So if you're going to be using the first letter in dog for that row right here, there's the dog. What was the first letter of the ciphertext? F. This is where working backwards, F would go back to a plain text letter of C. So that's how you're going to be using that veneer square. You're going to be working yourself backwards now. So I'm going to have you guys actually figure this out for me. The first letter in the whole thing is a C. For the next letter, Z, you have to go to the O row. What does O, or what does the O row tell us Z goes back to? L? Okay, interesting. Go to the G row, because you're only going to 3 different rows here. Go to the G row. What does O go back to? I? Trying to figure out what word it could be. All right, let's go back to the D row. Go back to the D row and tell me what I goes back to. I'm going to rewrite this smaller. It could. What does I go back to in the D row? F? Is it Clifford? All right, let's go to the O row. And what does T go back to? Is it really Clifford?
I'm guessing so. I'll just put 2, 2.
Yo, you go to
Does it really? It could be Clifford.
yo, this is Clifford.
What if it was Clifford? So then, okay, D row, what does the U go back to? D?
Wait, which one? What? R.
Does it?
The big red dog.
Clifford, the big red dog. Can you imagine?
I mean, I got Clifford.
I'm going to cut and paste this into that decoder. I want to see if it's Clifford the big red dog. It is very possible. Now, even though this is a PDF, you can still actually highlight, copy and paste. Copy. Go back here. I'm on. Oh, no, I don't want to go to the black chamber. The black chamber is something that it was useful a few years ago, but now like part of the website won't work. I did automatic decryption. It's not working.
Try putting in a keyword.
What's the keyword?
Dog.
Dog. Decrypt. Clifford. Oh, Clifford, the big red dog.
Yo. Done it again. I mean, all right. Keyword was dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a listing move. But yeah, if he goes Clifford the big red dog. That's true. I'm not a fan of Clifford the big red dog. First of all, it's like, how much money do you have to spend to maintain that dog? Right? Like, it's too much. Yeah. So now, when we did veneer square code breaking, that was when we were really introduced to the Google spreadsheets, the Excel spreadsheets, things of that nature. I was trying to teach you the codes thing and all that fun stuff. But part of that depended upon some of the repetitions that we found within that text. In fact, remember that piece of paper that I gave you with that cipher text of the veneer code? It was a poem by Tennyson, I believe. But we had to find a lot of these repetitions. And it took a while to kind of visibly see these repetitions. So in a problem like number 3, they're saying, hey, you examine a veneer ciphertext and you find repeat lengths of 50, 65, 70, and 95. List all of the factors of each of these and estimate the length of the keyword. Now, in terms of that, it is possible you'd be like, well, clearly it's got to be a keyword of length 5. But what if it's not? What if it's not? What if it is indeed something else? Clearly, it's not going to be a keyword of 1. If it was a keyword of 1, then it's not going to be, the Venn square wouldn't even be necessary if it's a keyword of 1. It would just be like a monoalphabetic cipher, you know? But if I'm going to be looking at the factors of 50, I wouldn't use 1. So 2, can you divide it by 4? Nope. Divide it by 5. Is that what a 5, 10? Yeah. So then it would be 10, and it would be 25, and it probably wouldn't be 50 itself. But these are the factors right there, 50. I don't think it can be 50, actually. You know why? None of the other ones have a factor of 50. Yeah. But anyway, 65, what would be the factors of 65? Well, you can divide it by 2, 3, or 4. You could divide it by 5. What is 65 divided by 5? 13? So 5 and 13. So at this point, I think we know what the length of the keyword is. Well, let me just go through with 70. 70, you can divide it by 2 and 35. You can divide it by 7. Oh, 5, I'm sorry. 5 and what? 5 and 14.
5, 7, 10.
And 7 and 10. There we go. It would be interesting. And then 95, only 5 and 19. Yeah, no 15. Based on this, it has to be 5. But you've got to make sure of that. You got to make sure of that. Yeah, I mean, but this is how we figured out that Venn square when we did it in class several weeks ago. We had to figure out all of those key lengths. We did that the class period before, and then we programmed all of that stuff into Excel in order to basically do a frequency analysis. It took a while, but that's how we could crack the Venn square. That's technically what we did in Excel is what that website decoder program does. It attempts to do a frequency analysis and give the most likely outcomes. And for the most part, it does a decent job, but it's not perfect.
This next question is just keyboard scramble.
It's not just keyboard scramble. I've decoded it before. But yeah, that would be the estimated length of the keyword. But for number 4, now look what number 4 is asking you to do. Above is a ciphertext from a Venn cipher. Look for repeated strings of characters. Now, they're not actually asking you to decipher this. They're not. It asks you to count the spacings, list the factors from those spacings, and write down how long you think the keyword is. So this can be potentially like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do with this thing? But you're looking for repeated letters. Not repeated letters in the sense of like, look, there's a K and a K and a U and a U and a blah, blah, E and an E. No, that's not what they mean by repeated letters. They're looking for a string of letters that are kind of unique. If you look all around this thing, there potentially could be a string of letters, 3 or more, that we could recognize that is going to help us potentially find the length of this keyword. What do you guys see?
This is very terrible.
It can be very terrible.
Format for this.
It can be. What do you mean format?
Format, like the way it is.
Oh,
The spaces are
well,
very.
you guys have a copy of the PDF.
But like, the spaces are still terrible.
I know. I'll zoom in on this. But I did give you a thing of the PDF so that you didn't have to squint at the screen. There we go. What What do you see? Oh, beg, B-E-G. Where? Well, I know you're seeing these words, but seeing the words is one thing. Seeing repetition is another. I don't see the word bet, unless she was saying, oh, third line, bus and gag.
Beg, second letter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing these individual words, but I'm looking for repetition. Like if you see the word bet somewhere, you should be able to see the bet somewhere else. Oh, hold on. Okay, so I do see the word beg, but I'm looking for the other, if there is an additional beg somewhere else.
Well, you have to save this question for last.
Well, no, here's the thing. I have made it a point on the actual final exam to not specifically give you something like this that's going to take forever, okay? I put this on the review because I want you guys to understand the process behind cracking the veneer square. And the process behind that is finding these repetitions, these repetitive letter strings in multiple parts of the cipher.
So this is not so much as a review for the final, but a review of the class.
Isn't that what the review for the final is supposed to be?
No, I don't know. Don't ask me this word.
You don't do the work.
My parents say it's my job, so
Well, technically, to an extent, it's a means to an end, is what school actually is. It's a means to an end.
crap. But it is.
Well, that's debatable. I would have assumed, because remember when I showed you that giant text, we were able to find like repetitive letters like crazy. Weren't we? Huh.
Well, maybe it's a trick question.
Listen.
Maybe let's just pull the
What I saw? I saw an RX.
Where?
Top row near the end, left pig.
RX pig.
Yeah.
I see an RX rack. Potentially could be helpful. Let me see if I can find something online right here. Because I could have sworn I had I could have sworn that I saw several repetitions when I was putting this thing together the first time. But now I'm looking up here and I'm like, I didn't write them down because I thought they would be obvious to me the second time. Here, let me try this. Copy. Find repetitive letter string. Oh, this is just telling me the Java programming for it. I want you to do it for me.
Is it telling you how to do it?
It's giving me the programming code. Oh, here we go. All right. Boom. Oh, interesting. This doesn't help me at all. Ooh, find duplicates. Nope. All right. Oh, that's true. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to have to come back to this one then. Yeah. Well, I was hoping for like 3 letters or more. Again, the thing is, like, I had found like several. I didn't write them down, though. I should have. Yeah. But we'll come back to this one. Because then once I find that it's going to be like, oh, well, that was so obvious. How come I didn't see it the first time? Or I'm sorry, the second time. Well, no, I'll see it the third time because I'll make sure I write it down the third time. It's best if it is 3 letters or more. mainly because like not when you do a Venn square, people are typically going to stay away from 1 and 2 letter strings. People are going to go with at least like a 3-letter or more keyword. That's okay. We can come back to this another time. We still have whatchamacallit, Friday. So moving along because we only have like a shortened time here. Ooh, Playfair cipher. I forgot I put these on here. So being that it is a review, I did leave the instructions for a Playfair cipher at the top of this thing, which is nice. And they're looking for you to decode using the above Playfair square. Personally, I much prefer a Playfair square where there's a keyword that kind of goes with it. That's what made National Treasure 2 so much fun. Which, by the way, if you had a choice, what would you watch? National Treasure 1 or 2? I gotcha. It's a good one. It's a good one. Anyway, let's go with deciphering this Playfair square. Now, with deciphering a Playfair square, I'm going to zoom in and make this bigger because I want to make those lines right there. But you got to make 2-letter groups. Sky says it's much more fun. Wait, are you saying the movie is much more fun or Playfairs are much more fun? I can't tell. What did she say? I'm hoping you keep saying words. Gotcha. O T E G I D D B to the Pam. Boom. There we go. That's breaking up all of those letter pairs. Let's see how quickly we can do this. Now you see OT again. It's just kind of a visual. IS. It's got to be in that order.
Damn it.
EG, go, line up in a column. You got to go backwards. Yep, it's going to be IT, going upwards. Is it? Oh, we're getting there. UE. UE, form the square. Go back to PR. IY. Square, go back to what? OG. OG. DB. Line up in a row, go backwards. What is it? RE. YQ. Progress. So this next couple, wait, that's a double S then. Let's see what happens. YQ. Where's Q? Q, line up in a square. YQ goes back to a ZS. That's weird. Let's see what happens. TO, go back to an SI. What happened here? What the heck happened here? Why did that happen?
I don't know. Messed up.
Nope. Nope. For what? That double S. They put the Z in order to break up the double S for the letter pairs. Yes. So just as a side note. So let's see. AM, line up in a column. Going backwards goes to FA. NL, line up in a square. Go back to CA. I like the Playfair square. It's like, do you know the story behind the Playfair cipher where the guy's just like trying to sell it to like the government or whatever, and he's just like, hey, your soldiers could use this and blah, 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 blah. And basically this higher up in the army is like, this is too complicated. No one's ever going to know how to do this. And the guy's like, I could teach this to school children. And then he did. And the kids learned it in like 15 minutes.
But like, that's not a good thing.
That's true. That's true. But that's where you need to have like the proper keyword that is, or some kind of secret square or something along those lines. That's what keeps it secure. But people could still break it. So let's see. Is it progress if, let's see what happens. CF. Oh, there's a giant square. What is that? NZ. PA is another square. NI. MO becomes BA. XC becomes LU. Oh, if a, there's the double N again. Put that there. If a cannibal, is it progress if a cannibal, I don't know where this is going. Let's see what happens. TB becomes SE. KQ lines up in a row, go backwards, becomes SK. PA square or rectangle becomes NI. GM becomes FE. It's not knives, though. It's knife. Anyway, MH becomes, going backwards, oh, it becomes AN. MZ becomes DF. XB becomes OR. And then QW becomes KZ. Which, yeah, they did the Z there just as a placeholder. One more time. Is it progress if a cannibal uses knife and fork? That's another trick question. But yeah, you got to remember those double letters. You got to remember those double letters. Because those double letters you got to take care of. In the Playfair cipher, you can't have double letters. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to encipher anything. Because it either has to line up in a row, line up in a column, or line up in a rectangle. It is. I agree, Sky. Sky says the Playfair with a word to go with it is much more fun. Instead of just like a random alphabet. The debt that all men pay. It is, isn't it? You know what they say about the only two things that are sure in life? Death and taxes. It is a very pessimistic thing. All right. Rail fence. Man, we haven't done rail fence in a while. Encrypt, set your goals using a 2-row rail fence cipher. If you happen to remember how to do a rail fence cipher, I'm going to remind you right here. In terms of the rail fence, you would write your plain text in an up and down fashion like this. Set your goals. You would write your plain text in an up and down fashion like that. Exactly. And then you would get your cipher text by reading it left to right. STOROLEYUGAS. There is your cipher text. But then it says to decrypt the cipher text, assuming it was encrypted using a 2-row rail fence. How many letters do I have? 16 letters. I just needed to know that for this. 16 letters. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16 letters right there for that rail fence. Now, in terms of deciphering, you got to know it's going to be going up and down, up and down, up and down. Notice how I'm skipping. Again, depending on if depending on if this were more rows, obviously you would have to figure out where that skipping would take place by going up and down. A, T, E, V, L, N, H, X. I am the avalanche.
We're not wrestlers.
Avalanche was never a wrestler.
It sounds like something professional wrestling.
That's true. There was an earthquake, there was a typhoon, but there was no avalanche. In fact, earthquake and typhoon formed a tag team called the Natural Disasters. I thought that was funny. I am the avalanche. They put that X in there kind of as a placeholder. And then the bottom one on this page, decrypt the following twisted path cipher, assuming it was encrypted along a counterclockwise spiral. Oh, go ahead. So to speak, it depends on how many rails you have. If there were 3 rails, it wouldn't be halfway through. Okay. What it comes down to is this. Let's just say that I had 10 letters with 3 rails. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's say there were 3 rails, but there were 10 letters. In terms of writing the letters, I would first do the first row, but you're like, when do I stop, right? I would put 1 here, then here. Notice how I'm following the rail, and then here. And then following the rail, and then I do here, 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 and here, and then here, here, and then I'm out of space. So that's how I would write in the ciphertext if I was following 3 rail. I would predict where this thing is going to be based on how many rails it actually has. Yeah. So if there's a 2 rail, then yes, technically halfway. But anything more than that, and it's like, yeah. Decrypt the following twisted path cipher, assuming it was encrypted along a counterclockwise spiral starting in the bottom right corner, 4x4 matrix. So let me do this thing up here. There's my 4x4 matrix, starting in the bottom right-hand corner, counterclockwise spiral, R, E, Y, E, E, H, T, A, N, M, B, E, L, R, O. The early November. I can't believe that actually worked. At first, I was just like, what is the heck is this going to stay, Liston? Oh, I forgot the E in avalanche. There's an E at the end of avalanche. Fun stuff. See, I was thinking about professional wrestling. The era that I grew up in for professional wrestling.
Was the WWE era?
Before that. The era that I grew up in was the early 90s.
I don't know what the WWE really took off.
Gotcha. I really took off in the mid 80s. Yeah, that's when the first WrestleMania happened. Yeah. No, but I was in the era of the Ultimate Warrior, which I think they just did a couple biographies online about him. Hulk Hogan, the beginning of The Undertaker, and stuff like that. That was my generation. Let's scroll this thing down. Oh, here we go. Encrypt the phrase 3-day weekend by writing it reading style into a 5x3 matrix and encrypting it using the keyword dog. What the heck does that mean? Well, let's do this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we agree that that is a 3x5 matrix? Technically, yes, but they said the keyword was dog. So since the keyword was dog, I had to make sure there were 3 columns. This is a columnar. 3, notice how I'm writing this in. Day, week, end. I'm writing it in as 3-day weekend, quote unquote, reading style. And they want me to encipher it using the word dog, meaning which column is going to go first? D. I would go T, E, A, E, E. And then the column that's going next is G, R, D, W, K, D. And then finally H, E, Y, E, N. Basically, it's a columnar without saying it's a columnar. The columnar cipher is done where the plain text is originally written normal, according to, oh, you got to pick a keyword. We picked the keyword of dog, okay? So if we're doing dog, then we have to do 3 columns for this columnar cipher. I write out 3-day weekend in plain text normally, but then we're going to write out the columns, but in the order of that keyword of dog. So if I were to decipher it, knowing how many letters I have and knowing that the keyword is dog, I would make that 3x5 matrix. I would write DOG up top. I know I'm going to be doing the D first, the G second, and the O third, and then I would write the letters into the columns in that particular order, thus giving me my plain text. I gave you this on an assessment earlier. Yeah, this will be the last problem we do today, because we're running a little bit out of time, and then we'll get to this other stuff. Some of this other stuff is more the recent stuff that we've done. Notice the additive shift, multiplicative shift stuff. Affine ciphers are down there. We'll get there. The following quote by Plato was enciphered using a double columnar transposition cipher using the keywords adjunct and airflow. Decipher this. Now, in order to decipher this, we have to work backwards. It was encrypted first using the word adjunct and then using the word airflow. So in order to do it backwards, I'm going to have to use the word airflow and then adjunct. First of all, how many letters do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I have 21 letters. And it makes sense because there are 7 letters in airflow, right? Which means if I'm going to have 7 letters in airflow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. There we go. I'm going to be doing the word airflow up here. Airflow, which means I'm doing this one first, this one second, this one third, fourth, 5th, 6th, and then 7th. There we go. So I got to take that and I got to write it into the columns. LBL, UEY, TAS, VSE, AML, DFE, IIP. I don't remember what this is supposed to say, but we're clearly not there yet because it was a double columnar, meaning we're going to have to do it again using the word adjunct. And again, adjunct has 7 letters, so it's the same size matrix. So I'm going to go over here, create that matrix one more time. There we go. It's the word adjunct, which means the order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. But now keep in mind, again, we're trying to decipher this thing. The text that we have in this first decipherment is LTDU, VAI, etc. So that's the order that I'm going to be writing this stuff in. So I'm going to be writing it in first as LTD. LTD, UVA, UVA, IBA, IBA, FES, FES, something starting to emerge, MIL, SEY, ELP. Life must be lived as play. Plato. Can't believe they named that clay after him. That was a joke. I'm hoping you realized. You're fist pumping that. I don't know why you're doing that. Anyway, I have a book of Plato at home that I haven't read yet. I think it's called something about the Great Dialogues or something like that. But I got to read that one day. Anyway, one day. She said it was a knee slapper. That was a knee slapper. Yeah. Anyway, so the class period is going to end in about 2 minutes or so. So we are going to wrap up here. Keep in mind that on Friday, we will have a full class period. We will be able to go through the rest of this review. And then you are taking your final exam on Tuesday of next week. And we'll see where it kind of goes from there. I got to look this up one more time. Like, how many? You're going to cry? Why are you going to cry?
Because I know I'm not going to be outlived. Or no, I am going to be outlived.
So let's see. Who are the... Okay, so Jacob, Josh, and Logan are the only non-seniors who are going to be here during exam week.
One whole smash game going.
Mr. Rollers.
You got one from me, Josh.
Play Minecraft.
No. We do have Smash for the Switch. We have Mario Kart. We got a bunch of stuff, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna close the stream in a minute. If you haven't left a comment, please make sure that you do so. That'd be fantastic. We got another class to set up for. You too.
I don't know.